So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. Storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the. I'm coming for the throne. I'm coming for the throne. So you wanna be my enemy? You should've known I'd never kiss the rain. Ice runs in my veins, won't play it safe. I don't belong with your nobility. Who died and made you king of anything? You think that I'm insane, it's your mistake. Kingdoms rise and fall, I've come to take it all. I'll take it, I've come to take it. Kingdoms rise and fall, I've come to take it all. I'll take it all. Storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the. I'm coming for the throne. I'm coming for the throne.
Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, cause that's what it takes.
Always stand tall, I'm grinning. I got cuts real deep, big bruises scarred. I had to
pieces is a form of art. I'm never gonna look back, cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change, slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, cause that's what it takes.
Make sure the microphone is on. Hey guys, what is going on? Wednesday, right? May 27th. Let me get this camera straightened up here. Howdy. It's been a while. If you don't know, we have a brand new baby. He's coming up on his 2-month birthday here in a couple days. And life has changed here a little bit in the sense that I have less free time. So I'm not as much on YouTube, although that will change as things get to a regular schedule. But you can still find me in Discord all day, every day, most evenings until the wee hours. I usually don't go to sleep till 11 or 12, wake up between 4 and 6, and I'm in Discord and on Twitter because I can put out a quick tweet. So follow me on Twitter if you're not doing that, or join us in the Discord. It is free. It is free. There are some paid options you can choose from for greater access. That's up to you. The link to Discord is in every video description. If you want to support the channel, we'd love to have you as a paying member. What are we going to talk about tonight? GNS, I have it up on the screen. Genius Group. A lot of people say Tony hates every stock. I don't hate stocks, people. I don't hate companies. I don't hate CEOs. I hate bad entries. I hate holding into the red. Can I get an amen? Do you guys like bad entries? Do you like holding something for years into the red? Someone said, Tony, you're Johnny-come-lately on this GNS trade. You don't know anything about it. Guys, literally, I've been reporting on this stock for 3 years or more. Since when? 2022, 2023. Here is when I started reporting on it. 2023, I think. Maybe it was farther back. Yeah. 2022. If you put $40, $36 into GNS back in 2022, you have 21 cents right now. This arrow is when I flagged it back then when they went in with West Christian and Share Intel. And it's just been a train wreck ever since then. But I do like, as you probably know, we call this tonight the Degens After Dark. We like some Degen plays. There's nothing wrong with trading a Degen play because why? They're often high volatility. You can make quick money on them. If you're an intelligent trader, I don't want emotional traders following this channel. I don't want people who don't know how to use both the buy and sell button following my channel. This is not for you. We're looking for good entries. We're looking for run-ups, and we take exits. Every day I get blown away in the different rooms in the Discord watching people say, oh, I just took 20% profit on this trade. I just 2x'd my money on this trade. And I'm going to do it again on the same ticker in a few days. There is money to be made out there, but you guys got to snap out of this social media hogwash telling you to hold every ticker for years into the red and ignore the financials. They get so mad at me for discussing the financials. Why do we look at the financials? Look, you don't need to. If you're going to be in and out of a ticker in a few minutes or a day, you don't need, it doesn't matter. Just trade the chart, trade the momentum. But if you are thinking about holding something, you better know about 8Ks. You better know about 424B5s. You better know about 13Gs and 13Ds. You better know what potential dilution the company has sitting out there using a tool like Dilution Tracker. You better know about cash burn, operating cash flow. Is it positive or negative? And then compare that to the cash on their balance sheet. Because if they're burning cash and they don't have much cash, and even some of the ones we're going to talk about tonight have zero revenue, what do you think is going to happen the longer you hold these tickers? You're going to get diluted. The shorts are going to be attracted like bait, like chum in the water. You're not going to win. You're not going to win. I want you to win. I'm not telling you to avoid tickers. I'm asking you to be more intelligent and less emotional. I want you cold-blooded sharks. I want you to be emotionless, and I want you to learn how to use both the buy and the sell button. This is for the degen trades, right? What I'd really prefer you to do is have a well-diversified portfolio of profitable companies, blue chip, i.e., profitable companies with growing revenues over the last 5 or 10 years, growing profits, heavy positive cash flow, where you're not having to babysit and worry and looking at the short interest and what's the short volume and all this nonsense that people talk about. Why are they worried about it? Because they're holding a shitty stock and they're looking for anything to grasp onto, and they generally lose for years with moments. There are moments these stocks have big moves up. Look at GNS. If you follow me in Discord or on Twitter, you know that I took a entry in this stock on May 13th after being out of it for a long time. Why? Because I don't like holding stuff into the red. Look at this shit. $1.92 down to 21 cents. I entered the trade right about here when it hit a demand zone that was on the chart going back to 2025. If you want to know more about supply and demand zone trading, I recommend this book by Frank Miller. Nothing that I'm putting on here is rocket science. You could do it too. There are many technical ways to analyze charts. We also use the moving averages. Look at Fibonacci occasionally, more like when we're trying to figure out a level for an entry or an exit. You can look at RSI, but kind of like a baseline is, where is your support and demand? Where, especially if you're trying to identify a good entry or a good exit. So I waited a long time, and this thing came down to 22, 23 cents. What happened today, ladies and gentlemen? Boom. Now, Anya thinks that I'm a wizard or I'm a sorcerer. It has been alleged that I have a crystal ball. None of these things are true. I just take emotion out of the trade. Understand if it's a shitty financials, hey, let's just call it what it is. It doesn't mean we need to avoid it, but we do want to size our risk according to what we're comfortable with and what the company is looking like. And so I saw someone in the chat earlier say there's so many tickers. There are a lot. You don't have to trade all of them. Look for the best setup and one that aligns with your risk to reward outlook. But a lot of times I'll put a little money here, a little money there, a little money there. I'm not YOLOing my entire account into GNS at 20 cents. It's a cash burning furnace. But I will take a trade if I think that I have a good setup and a chance to double 2, 3, 4, 5x my money. It's happened many times on this ticker. Why? because it has heavy social media following and it tends to get pumped in after hours, sometimes for days, on news. And what news did they have today? They approved a AI treasury plan. One thing I love about Roger James Hamilton, I know he gets a lot of hate out there on social media by the bears. And I'm neither a bear nor a bull. I'm just a fact finder. He gets a lot of hate by the bears, not by me. You won't see me talking bad about him, I don't think. I just talk about the financials and people get mad, you're talking bad about the company. I'm literally reading the financials. If you think that's bad news, well, then blame the company for putting those financials out. But moving on, Roger is really good at latching on to the hot button of the moment to capture retail's interest in his company while he's trying to make something of this company, which he's struggled with for years. And maybe this will be the year. Maybe next year will be the year. I don't know. We're not going to do a deep dive on GNS. I've covered them from time to time, once every quarter, maybe once every 6 months. It's really not worth my time to make a video on them often. But I do keep up with the news, and I watch Roger's live streams when he puts them out, and I keep up with the financials. Now the latest thing is not only are we going to have a Bitcoin treasury, we're going to have an AI treasury. And what did this press release say? I salute his ingenuity, ladies and gentlemen. Where is that? Genius Group. Oh, here's the dilution tracker. Someone asked me in the chat on X, Tony, could this go to $90 again like 2022? In 2022, this stock had, if we factor in for any reverse splits, and I can't remember if there were any, but it doesn't matter. Just the float back then, let's call it 4 million shares. Right now, it's at 200. So getting back to what I was saying a few minutes ago about if you hold something long enough, you're going to be diluted to hell if they're a cash furnace. 4 million shares to 200. And then if you look at the warrants and open ATM, we're looking at, what is that, 3 billion shares potential dilution. Now, I'm not saying that Roger's going to dilute you immediately with 3 billion shares. This is just cataloging here on Dilution Tracker, the open filings, the ATMs, the warrants. And you can go down, if you don't want to dig through SEC Edgar, you can go down and look at all of these here on Dilution Tracker. This is a great tool to start your research if you're holding a company. And I don't want to hear anything about, just because they have the filing doesn't mean they're going to use it. I agree with you. But, I mean, what do we got here? 4 million to 200 million. They used it, motherfuckers. They've been using it, and he will continue to use it. And to approve this AI treasury, investing up to an initial 100 million into SpaceX, OpenAI, Anthropic, Figure AI, and other leading frontier AI companies. Roger, can we interest you in some Railtown? Wink, wink. We'll get to Railtown in a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Earnings coming up soon. He wants to invest $100 million in all the hot button stocks, and I have no problem with that. Maybe it'll work out for him. If you're on board with this plan and you love it, great. I don't have any opinion. I do have questions like, where's the $100 million going to come from? So let's just look. I haven't even looked at the balance sheet to tell you by memory. Cash and cash equivalents, $2 million, $14 million in short-term investments, $17 million cash. He plans to invest $100 million in AI companies. So that's something as a rational investor, I'd be saying, where's that money gonna come from? Maybe he already covered it. Maybe I don't have the answer yet. So if you're a super bull, there are a couple of them out there on X that only promote this company. Feel free to drop it in the chat. And we wish Roger and all of the long investors much success. I don't want to see any of you lose. I don't short stocks. I don't work for the shorts. I will avoid stocks that are cash burning furnaces. But who knows? I mean, if he invests in these AI companies and the AI companies go up, then it could be a good investment. He's tried investing in Bitcoin. That didn't really work out, from what I recall. But that is the news today. And if you know Roger, you know he is very good at latching on to what is going to get you guys fired up. I would humbly suggest that you still review the financials. And what we're going to move on to a new ticker, but in every ticker, what are some of the main things we look at? We look at the revenue trend. It was going down for a few semi-annual reports, but there was a bump up on the most recent one. That's good. Operating income is not really going the right direction. It's getting worse to a negative. So growing revenue, is that exciting when you're losing more and more money every 6 months? I don't know. Net income going the wrong direction. And shares outstanding, as we already covered, skyrocketing through dilutive actions that the company's taking. So these are why, you don't hear me talking about this stock. It is a bit of a mess on the income statement. Cash and short-term investments, they have 17 million. That's fine. Total current assets, 23 million. That's fine. Current liabilities, 27 million. So slightly in the negative on book value. We're looking at current ratio and quick ratio, slightly in the negative. Total assets, 136, total liabilities, 40. So they are positive on book value, right? Yeah, positive on book value. Shareholders' equity, positive 89 million. But the cash is relatively low considering the plans that he has. Now, one final thing that we'd look at, this cash compared to what they're burning in operating cash flow. This is not bad, 3 million. See, then maybe this is the year they turn it around. But prior to that, with negative 13, negative 30, negative 15, when you have a bunch of negatives here, you get the dilution that we've had. If he can stay on this track of positive operating cash flow and grow the operating cash flow, then, if you're a bull, maybe things turn around here with Genius Group. So if you're interested in the company, that's something I would be looking at. Do I think, without listening to a promoter on social media who tells me what's going to happen, do I think, from my own analysis, from looking at what the company has going on, that they're going to turn the corner on positive net income and positive operating cash flow? If you do, then maybe 21 cents is not a bad entry for a long-term hold. But I'd also be asking Roger, or I'd want the answer to the question. Maybe I'll look it up tomorrow. Where is he going to get $100 million to invest in these stocks? All right, I'm going to look at the chat real quick to see if anyone has any questions about GNS. Congrats to those of you in the Discord that made this trade with me. It was a 2x. We will have to wait and see. Maybe carries up a little bit higher in pre-market. 21 cents up to 51, closing after hours trading at 40 cents. Not bad. Not bad for a company which is not really that good. Could it go to $1, $2, $3? Yeah, it could. I don't know. We're not trying to hold troubled companies for 100x plays. We're looking to look for good entries, take some money out, move on. We have not looked at AMC. Someone asked about AMC. We're going to talk about Railtown next. RLAIF. It is on the OTC here in the US. If you're in Canada, it's on the RLA. If you're in Canada, it's on the CSE, its main exchange, under the ticker RAIL, RAIL. They listed on the US OTC for access to additional capital. So I wouldn't I would not ding them as a penny stock. I would just call them they're a speculative startup with their main listing in Canada. And this is a sovereign AI play. They have partnered with TELUS, which is a big telecom and now AI company up in Canada. And we are waiting on earnings, probably on June 1st or 2nd. What is Monday? Yeah, probably the 1st or 2nd, to find out now that the TELUS factory is in operation or close to in operation, and Realtown, as an agentic AI company that has partnered up with TELUS to offer their product to companies that are using TELUS's hyperscaler facility. They have a revenue sharing deal. We have no details on it. That's why I call the trade is speculative. It's a non-revenue company. We have zero details on what the revenue is going to be or what the revenue share is going to be. If you're in the Discord, I've already shared my thoughts on what the revenue is going to be. I'll just say this. There is a chance we might get a number reported next week, if it is positive, that is positive revenue, but low to the point where today's price is already a fair market price. That is a possibility, even with positive revenue. Okay? My Discord already knows this. They're cool with it. We know it's a speculative trade. We have sized our trades accordingly. There are people literally telling you that this stock, 29 cents, is going to be $1 billion company by 2028, and the stock is going to be a couple $100. These people, the promoters, the pumpers, already missed their target of $55 by May 5th. Look, this is not a channel where we fill you full of hopium dreams with fake made-up price targets. We're going to look at the data. We're going to analyze. We're going to have a non-hopium analysis. And if we like the risk to reward at a certain price level, we're going to trade the stock, get a good entry, see what happens. I've been accumulating this stock for quite a while and trying to keep my cost basis under 30 cents. I saw some buys in the Discord today because it was trading at 29 and 29.6 cents. I had my good till canceled buy. I just bought some last week at 29 cents. I had my GTC buy sitting out there under 29 cents, and that did not trigger today. So we will see if I get lucky and get a little bit more before the week is up. This stock often has its worst day on Fridays. A lot of my buys, I'll put in a good till canceled, and it might sit out there for weeks, and then one Friday the stock just falls off a cliff, and boom, I'm in. Add to my position. I have no guarantees. I have no promises. I think the risk to reward is manageable here because I think maybe the worst case is the whole AI thing blows up, and there's going to be. I'm doing a live stream, so check with Grandpa. I don't know. I was at the grocery store. All right. Sorry, my train of thought is getting interrupted here. Where was I? Oh, the worst case is the whole AI trade blows up. I think that's very low risk, but it's out there, right? And there's a lot of people with a lot of high dollar AI stocks that are going to be a lot hurt worse than us trading this little 29 cent stock. I'm not too worried about that. If it happens, it happens. The second worst thing that could happen as I'm doing my risk analysis is maybe there's no revenue reported till next quarter. So now we got 3 more months of waiting. That's fine. I've got a good entry. I'm in a very patient, non-emotional, I can wait another 3 months. Not a big deal. There's a lot of people that have cost basis on this thing because they're listening to the promoter pumpers. They have cost basis 35, 40, 45, 50, 60 cents. Fortunately, They've been, if they were smart, they were able to average down a little bit. We've just been chipping away. I did take my very first entry on this a year ago. I forget what it was, something like 50 cents. Very tiny position. But 90% of my buys have been, since the beginning of this year, under 30 cents. There's been plenty of opportunities for the patient to pick this up cheap. And that's about all I know. I mean, we'll find out together in a few days if it has revenue and what it is. And if you're in my Discord, you're already prepared for the third worst case scenario, that the revenue is very low. Maybe there's revenue, but on an annualized basis, maybe it's very low. Maybe the market has priced this stock correctly for now. We'll find out. And if it is priced correctly for now, that's also fine with me, because the next thing that I will then think about is, okay, if it's priced correctly for now at 30 cents, what is management going to tell me about the outlook over the next 1, 2, 3 years? That would be the next thing that I would want to know. Should I hold this stock? And that will come from management guidance. If they don't give any, then we're left to speculate again. So, we will see. We will see. I'm going to get to AMC and GameStop, but first, let's talk about GDC. And I'm going to look at the chat here real quick and see if anybody had a Railtown question. Michael says, did you see the big drop on TIGR? I did not. Pond Prowlers says, I think Bose is a sound investment. Ba-dum-bump. VRO's Trey says, Tony, how are you going to watch Passenger before Obsession? I did actually watch Obsession already with the wife. Let me see if I can... Media... Image. We did watch Obsession. We loved it. I put my review up there. There we go. I'm up to 36 movies. I'm not going to talk about AMC. I just, since I saw the movie question. 36 movies. The recent ones that I have seen have been Obsession and The Passenger. Obsession 10 out of 10. The Passenger 5 out of 10. I would say watch Obsession 2 times and skip The Passenger. Wait for it to come out on TV. This weekend we have Backrooms, and I've been catching up on The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, and I will be seeing The Mandalorian and Grogu this weekend also. All right, GDC. Oh boy. This is a degen trade. These things, guys, I know a lot of people ask, Tony, why do you even bother? First of all, I'm not recommending this stock. I find these tickers that get promoted, it's always by the same handful of people. Finger, GTII, G-Bucks, MMTLP, GDC, NRGV, always the same handful of people promoting these stocks, and the result is always the same. People get destroyed because they skipped an opportunity to sell into a run-up, and then the ticker gets rugged. You could have been at in this stock for $2, and it ran up to $8, and then it immediately rugged, and no one had the chance to get out. This was quick and violent, from $8 down to 10 cents. Now, that is not the only one. And I've been doing a little bit of reporting, and I will have a full report for you once GDC issues their next corporate update. We're going to come back to it in a second. But like, for example, look at this. YAAS, 257 down to 78 cents. You could have been in this thing at 92 bucks, 92 cents, tripled your money, but you listened to the promoters and now you're at 91 cents. GDHG. These are not random tickers. I promise you there is a direct affiliation between all of these tickers, including GDC, and I will unveil that at some future point. Look at this thing. $4 up to 24, then it got rugged to 8 cents. These aren't accidental, ladies and gentlemen. Easy Go, another affiliated company. Let me bring up my Chinese shitbag list here. Easy Go. It ran from 13 cents up to 2.35, came down, had a nice little pump day. People were slapping each other on the back, and then it rugged to 1 penny. Going back to GDC, the one thing that makes this one super interesting to me and different from the rest, there is a direct affiliation, a direct tie that I can show you guys with SEC proof that all of these companies are related. But the one thing that makes GDC different is they own, allegedly, 7,500 Bitcoin, which, let's just say it has a rough value of $600 million at the current price of Bitcoin, roughly. What's the market cap of this company now? It was up here around $8. It was around 500 million bucks. Makes sense, right? They even got a press release they put out saying they had a take private buyout proposal to go private at $10.75 a share. Everybody was ecstatic. They thought they're going to be rich. And then the next day it rugs to 11 cents. How does that happen? How does a company with a bid to go private at $10.75 a share get rugged to 11 cents? Especially if they own $600 million of Bitcoin. And let's say that the book value of the company should theoretically be, if the float is 60 million shares, should be $10 a share. How does it drop to a market cap of $6 million? This company lost 90% of its value in 2 days. How is a company with 600 million of assets and no debt get run down to a $6 million market cap? Wouldn't somebody on Wall Street, this is going to remind any of you that listen to me talk about arbitrage a month before. Remember when MMTLP ran up and then rugged? Remember when I called that a month in advance? I told you exactly what was going to happen with MMTLP a month in advance. You can go find my playlist called Pump and Dump Diary. And I clipped the live stream where we told you exactly what was going to happen. The stock was going to run up. People were going to tell you it's going to $1,000. You're going to listen. You're going to be emotional. You're going to believe them. The S1's going to get filed and then approved, and then it's going to get rugged. And you're going to keep holding because they're telling you that it's naked shorts and they got to cover. It was all bullshit. The lies started with MMTLP long before the run-up. It started on social media. It started from the executives who are now under SEC investigation. I get it. The FINRA U3 halt was unfortunate, but you had a beautiful opportunity to get out $8, $9, $10, $12, make massive money, but you listen to the liars, to the promoters, to the people paid by the company. We have documentation that this company was paying social media. You guys got lied to, you got had, and now you're searching for someone to blame. I would blame anybody on social media who told you this company had assets that it had value, that you were getting a dividend. That was all made up bullshit. And as I said, getting back to what did I say about MMTLP? If the stock was worth $100 or $1,000 based on the theoretical assets, Wall Street would run the price up. They're pretty damn good at arbitrage. They're pretty good at smelling out bullshit versus hidden gems. MMTLP was a big old stinking pile of bullshit. And that's why people got smoked. They fell for it. And Wall Street shorted it because they knew that the assets were worthless. It was shorted. And it was halted. All unfortunate, all perfectly predictable. The company told you it was going to be halted. You thought NextBridge was your fallback. I've seen the tweets from the promoters. Don't worry, guys. Hold. The shorts are scared, and even if it gets delisted, NextBridge is our fallback. Who owns NextBridge right now that's happy about that being your fallback? Not one person. And no, you're not getting $15 a share when the new NextBridge S1 or S3, whatever, goes effective. You're not. More bullshit. So GDC, the question is, if they own 600 million of assets, 600 million of Bitcoin, how could the market cap be $6 million? I don't know. It makes 0 sense. Unless, what? What are the two things, the unless, my fellow Degens? Either it's being shorted and the shorts just have, zero financial common sense and they're complete idiots and they're putting their careers and their firms on the line. Because all the company's got to do is say, hey, we still got the Bitcoin and now we got a binding offer at 1075. What do you think is going to happen to anybody that's short on this thing? They're going to get wrecked. I don't think, we don't like shorts, but they're not stupid. They know how to manage risk and they know how to smell out bullshit. So what is the potential bullshit here? Maybe the company doesn't hold the Bitcoin anymore. Maybe, I don't know. I have no way of knowing. People post websites. Look, it's listed here, number 15. When those people, these promoters give you those websites, I want you to go click on the company name, GDC, and then I want you to click on the source, little tiny text that says source of their data. It's the company's own press release. It's self-reported data. Nobody's independently confirming that they own the Bitcoin. I'm going to assume that they do. Otherwise, this would be fraud on a massive scale. But maybe something changed. Maybe they sold it recently and haven't told us. That doesn't seem likely to me either, because now you have a material event with no disclosure. So I'm not even worrying about the Bitcoin. Let's just assume they own it. Fair enough? Because I don't want to contemplate massive fraud, and I don't want to contemplate a company skipping a material disclosure. What could else logically explain this? Idiotic shorts, fraud, or what? The float is not 60 million shares anymore. Maybe the company started selling shares, and maybe the market cap is, if we 10x'd the float, maybe the market cap is 10x higher. Maybe it's really 60 million market cap. Maybe it's 200 million. I don't know. But there somehow some selling pressure came in here. Be it shorts, be it insiders unloading, be it fraudulent Chinese traders, be it people with access to information that we don't have, or it could be the company selling shares. And I'm not saying they destroyed us selling 10 billion shares, but let's just recap why I look at filings. And a lot of these Chinese pump and dump companies, I don't know if GDC is one. I'm going to say very clearly, no one knows anything until the next company update. I'm just going to run through with you some fact-based stuff. Remember all those other tickers we just went through? EasyGo, GDHG, HLP, that's another one, YASS. What did they all have in common? They all had several things in common. They pre-approved, months before the rug pull, they pre-approved a reverse split. This seems unheard of, right? Normally, when companies dilute and the price tanks, then they ask us to approve in a vote a reverse split. And those votes usually get shoved through. But one thing that is in common with all of these companies that I showed you, they all pre-approved a reverse split many months ago, long before there was any hint of trouble. Second thing that they all do, increase their shares outstanding, often without even a shareholder vote. In the case of GDC, by written consent of the board of directors back in September, I believe, they increased the authorized shares outstanding from 200 million to 10 billion. Now, I would ask you to think about for a second, put your crybaby napkin, down on the table and listen to me. Why would a company increase their shares outstanding from 200 million to 10 billion? And then pre-approve a reverse split. And then what did they do right before this rug pull? They dropped a couple of bullish press releases and a $300 million equity offering, an ATM. And that, within days of that ATM, is when the rug happened. So I'm just saying there's a story. You could see how they increase the authorized shares, pre-approve a reverse split, issue a ATM for 300 million, and then start selling shares. Now, maybe they didn't mean to collapse it from $8 to 11 cents. Maybe they just sold a little bit, and it's too late then. The skids were greased. The damage was done. The shorts took over. The bulls lost faith. I don't know. We won't know until the next filing. But I can tell you all of those other companies that we went through. Oh, here's another one, WOK. All of these companies had pre-approved reverse splits. They pre-approved increasing the shares outstanding. They, in most cases, did an ATM or had convertible debt or had some way to increase the shares outstanding. And then within 20 to 30 days, they implemented that reverse split. They don't even need to ask you about it. WOC did it twice. They had a reverse split authorization to do basically as many reverse splits as they wanted. Look at this. I mean, gosh, what was this thing trading at? $8.45. Well, you'd be now at 10 cents on this thing. And the company just keeps rugging and reverse splitting. Rug and reverse split. They did it twice within a couple months. Why do they do this? Well, some people call it an extraction of U.S. investor money to China, to Chinese investors. I'm not saying don't trade these stocks. I'm not saying GDC can't have a run up. If the company's done diluting, if they were diluting, I'm just saying it's worthwhile understanding the patterns of what a typical Chinese pump and dump looks like. Pre-approve increasing the float, pre-approve a reverse split, issue a couple bullish press releases, pay a couple promoters to talk about naked shorts, quietly issue an equity offering, run the price up, and then wham! You're done. You before you can even blink, the price is down 90%. And all the promoters are like, I don't understand what's happening. It must be the naked shorts. Surely the company wouldn't do this. Look, I got all sorts of evidence on all those other tickers that, yes, it was the company doing it. We're only waiting for the final shoe to drop on GDC. Maybe they will be the one that is pristine and innocent, and it's just naked shorts. But I bet you could guess where my bet comes down here. I don't know. I don't have any instructions for you. I don't care if you buy or sell the stock. A lot of times when these things get really cheap, they have volatility. You could have a run here from 10 cents to 20 cents. You could have a run from 10 cents to $1. If GDC comes out and says we have now a binding offer at 10.75 and the float is 60 million shares, you could have a run to $10 instantaneously. But you ought to consider the other filings. Why did all of that pre-set up happen? Increasing the shares authorized, pre-approving reverse split, and setting up an ATM. Why did that happen? Now, I haven't even talked about the Trump coin. The ATM they filed on April 29th was for $300 million. I didn't even go back in my filings past September, and I already saw the train wreck. And then someone said, Tony, did you know that they were involved in a suspected bribery scandal with the Trump administration back in 2025? I did not know that because I didn't go back that far. But it is true, and I've published this. There is another $300 million authorization to sell more shares. So this company has the potential to raise $600 million selling shares at basically any price. There is some little caveats on the first one. And they were implicated in a letter from Congress as potentially using their influence to raise money as a bribe to the Trump administration to buy Trump coin. Now, from what I know, nothing ever happened with that. They didn't go buy Trump coin. There's no disclosure from the company that they raised that $300 million or that they bought Trump coin. But that cash raise ability is still out there. I think it was good for 2 years. And now you have another $300 million. So you're looking at potential $600 million they could sell at any price if they wanted to. The Trump coin equity purchase agreement, I think it had a minimum, the price couldn't be below 42 cents or something like that. I mean, it was above 42 cents for a long time, couple days. Let's talk AMC and GameStop real quick. Enough on the Chinese pumping ups. I just find them fascinating. I rarely trade them because they're often so volatile and so violent. I pray for all of you that need the price to go up, that happens. Your best outcome on GDC is the company puts out a press release. They've been silent now for 21 days, 3 weeks. The company needs to come out and say, we own the Bitcoin and we have a binding offer, not a non-binding proposal. We got a binding offer, 1075. Your life will change. But what's the odds? That's really the question. Let's talk about AMC because that'll be quick. Box office for the quarter, let's call it 1.7 billion. I'm still expecting around 2.6 billion for Q2, which is in the profit zone for AMC. Box Office Theory is projecting up to 2.75 billion, which would be for sure profitable and cash flow positive for AMC. So we will see. I hope you guys, if you enjoy movies, that you're going out and taking advantage of all the late spring and early summer movies. There are a bunch of good ones. This weekend, go see Backrooms. And coming up, we have Toy Story 5. We have April, May, June. We have Supergirl. Scary Movie. And the He-Man movie, Masters of the Universe. And Disclosure Day. There's still quite a bit of good movies to bump up that last $1 billion in the next 5 weeks. So we will see what happens. But these big movies got to hit. They got to hit. So I'm not increasing my number, but I feel pretty good about 2.6 billion. As far as the AMC chart, let's pull up my little image again here. So I own AMC, Cinemark, and Marcus Corp. And I had a position in AMC at 97 cents that I bought in end of March. And the stock ran up, as you guys probably know. It was a 100% gainer from 93 cents to $1.94. Price pulled back. I got back in on May 15th at $1.29. All of this, we talk about it every day in the Discord. I post my trades in the VIP and Discord the second they happen with the price that I bought at. If I'm wrong, it's there publicly for anybody in VIP Discord to laugh at me or say, Tony really bought this at $5. He just didn't tell you. Look, I post it when it happens. And if I'm talking about it here with you, it is real. It is legit. I'm not going to talk about stuff on this channel that get me in trouble with the SEC. Everything that I tell you can be backed up with a trade ticket. I'm not saying for you to buy AMC either. I'm just talking about my trades. There's a lot of people that are in the red on this ticker because they listened to ding dongs for the last 5 years saying, hold, hold, hold. I was out of this trade for almost 2 years until I bought in end of March, much like the GNS, waiting for the right technical moment and some filings that we were watching. And we had beautiful timing. Everybody had a chance to double their money. Some people in my Discord have been swing trading it and compounding their profits. Others are running the wheel. I'm just running more of a buy at a good entry and see how box office does. If it runs up to a point where I think it's getting overextended, I might sell again, but I'm still holding at $1.29 now. That is my new cost basis. I have some call options for June, late May and late June that are up 100% as well. So I'm going to be fine on this trade unless AMC comes out with some bad news. I did not factor my call options in here. When I sell them, I'll update what my total gain is. But hopefully the stock does well between now and option expiry in June. And if there's a run up to $1.75, $2, I will sell those and take the profit. And I will use that options gain to offset the entry price on my shares, to de-risk my hold on the shares. Cinemark, I've been holding, Cinemark and Marcus Corp, I've been holding them since last year, late last year. And within 2 weeks, I already made 100% on AMC in one swing, and now I'm equal to both of these. So these are kind of like the safety plays. If you're following the industry and the box office, profitable companies, box office, if you think it's going to be good, we do for the rest of this year. These are safe but kind of boring. That's why you don't hear me talking about them but once a quarter. AMC, there's a lot going on. A lot of filings, a lot of debt shuffling, a lot of debt restructuring. You got to pay attention. And there's a lot of dum-dums out there putting out a bunch of nonsense. So there's more to talk about. HUBC, we'll end up with that one. We'll close with that one. Let's talk about GameStop real quick. So you can see I've been swing trading the hell out of this puppy. And yes, there are trade tickets for all this stuff. People say, oh, he's not really buying this. Like, there's no benefit for me. Do you know how much hate I get for telling people that I'm not buying, I'm waiting? And then do you know how much hate I get when I sell? It doesn't benefit me to lie to you about my trades. I already get enough heat just being honest. We were in GameStop since November, December. I started taking some exits as these supply zones developed. And then I completely exited on that Friday when the eBay rumor came out. The highest I got out at in my brackets was 27.75. So, you know, what is that? 20, 30% trade. Not too bad for 5 or 6 months. I'd like to see GameStop buy eBay. But a couple days later, after I told the Discord I was out of the trade, Michael Burry published his thoughts, which I mostly agreed with. That, look, I told you guys all along, I was in this trade for the hope that Ryan Cohen would deploy the money in a market crash to buy an undervalued company that is cash flow positive. Now, he did identify a good company, eBay, that is cash flow positive, but he's not buying it undervalued. He's buying it at a premium, and he's highly leveraging the NewCo. Highly leveraging. And that was not really what I was interested in, which is why I exited the trade, and I'm still not back in. I will watch and see if a new support zone develops here. Maybe I'll take a little swing, but I feel better under $20. And look, there's a lot of good analysis and a lot of bad analysis going on about what happens if GameStop acquires eBay or merges with them. Most of these people have no business talking about what's going to happen. They're coming at you from a point of cult. They're coming at you from a point of what they wish will happen, not what the reality is of what is likely to happen. I've gone over in my Discord 3 scenarios because we're always trying to be fair. We always try and game out what are the outcomes and what are the probability of outcomes. If GameStop gets approval from eBay to make a NewCo, you could have the total valuation of the companies be the same. When they merge, you could have the market get excited about it and give the NewCo a premium, or you could say, the market could say, all right, now you're fully loaded with $20 billion in new debt, and we're going to discount the combined entity until we see how Ryan Cohen performs. You could see the price, the value of your GameStop shares go down. I'm not talking about the value of the combined entity. I'm talking about the value of your shares right now, because you're already going to be diluted from shares being given to eBay holders. But that might not matter. Your ownership percentage is going to decline. But if the combined entity is discounted by the market, you're going to get wrecked. I don't know what's going to happen. I have opted for myself to exit the trade for the moment, and I'm not going to be one of these ball-licking, urine-sucking Ryan Cohen worshipers that tells you you're going to be a millionaire. Maybe you will. But there is risk here, and all of a sudden, it's funny to me how everybody's a fan of highly leveraged companies. Do you realize how leveraged GameStop, eBay together would be? when you add 20 billion in new debt? I just want you to think about that, to think about how I'm looking at it. Now, I do think that Ryan Cohen, as an operator, could improve eBay's results. I do think eBay is a little bit lazy and sloppy and content to do just enough for their shareholders. And I do think that Ryan Cohen could, over the long term, improve things. So I'd like to see that happen. It'd be fun to watch. It'd be fun to watch Ryan prove all the naysayers wrong and improve results at eBay. I just don't know how the market is going to value it. And I don't even know. They already turned down the first deal. Now what? He's going to have to offer more cash. He's going to have to offer a better price. They're not too thrilled about taking 50% stock on a highly leveraged buyout. That is very risky. What if he offered $125 a share cash? Then it becomes a no-brainer. But he doesn't have $125 a share cash. So we're stuck analyzing what we got. We walked through in the Discord today the different ways that he could force this. He's been buying up a derivatives position in eBay, which he could potentially, I think it's over 7% now, he could potentially convert those to shares. It is debatable, I think, right now, whether or not him owning put call pairs qualifies in eBay's rules as actual ownership. But at some point, whenever the Hart-Rodino, right? Whenever that regulatory window is passed, if he wanted to, he could convert them to shares. Proxy fight or tender offer. Those are the two buckets that I'm looking at. And both of them will take some time. Someone asked in Discord, could he get it done before October so we can maybe have some juice on those warrants? Yeah, it's possible that he could get enough of a position to call a special shareholders meeting of eBay in August or September. It is possible. Is it certain? No. Because eBay has the ability to delay things. The board could drag their heels on scheduling a special meeting, or they could implement some sort of poison pill. So nothing is certain. And then the tender offer route, I think he's got to get something like over 85% of current shareholders to tender shares to him. Effective control. And that's not going to happen overnight either. I don't know that he's really out there courting the institutional investors. He's mostly just slapping around the current board. And I don't know. We'll see if that strategy works or not. It's fun to watch. I wish him luck. I'd love to see GameStop buy eBay. I think most people, especially the ones on YouTube, are completely missing this. But they've missed everything. They didn't understand the convertible bonds. They didn't understand the warrants. They haven't understood why the price is stuck. They don't understand jack shit in this trade, and they don't understand the eBay deal either. They're just excited that something's happening. Oh, something's happening. We're going to be rich. We don't do that emotional bullshit here. If we can make money in the trade, we're going to take the trade. If we have some concern that we might be pulled down into the red, or some hope that we might get a better entry, we might exit the trade and utilize patience. Patience is not something found on emotional YouTube or Twitter X or StockTwits. These emotional people have zero patience. And that is to their own detriment. It's unfortunate. I want to teach you the zen of being patient and waiting for a good entry, not this buy every day at any price bullshit. You wonder why I'm always so calm, why I'm not complaining about all my losses? Because I might wait for a year to get into a trade. I hate taking losses. I hate buying something and watching it go down. So if I'm worried about that, I will wait. I will follow my own DD, as they say, as I say. All right. AMC, we talked about that. Is the price going to go up on AMC? Look, I'm generally bullish about box office for the rest of the year. So I hope so. Do we have crazy price targets? No. I think in the Discord we'd all be thrilled with $2 or $2.50. Could it go higher? Maybe. Are we planning around anything higher than that? No, we are not planning on that, but we'll always take a free bonus. So we'll see what happens. HUBC, that was the final one we're going to talk about, right? HUBC. We could talk about Finger if y'all want to, but I don't know. HUBC. This one is really interesting. Any of y'all who've been around, walking around in the Degen dungeon with any of us for the last 5 years are familiar with this ticker. It's had several high volatility runs. Look at this. It attracts retail investors like a moth to a flame. And there's been some fine trades here. Boom, boom. Any of these run-ups would have been fine opportunities. This was probably what, a reverse split? Yep. After that reverse split, it went from $5 down to 6 cents. Then they did another reverse split. 3 months later, we're getting a mullen going on here. They did a 1 for 15, then they did a 1 for 50, and immediately it got tanked from $7 back down to 10 cents. Now, here is where this one gets interesting, and this is why I want to talk about it. Just because, like I said at the beginning when we were talking about GDC, these things fascinate me. The shares outstanding, allegedly, is 1.28 million. The free float, allegedly, is 74,000 shares. Now, the volume today was 20 million on a free float, allegedly, of 74,000 shares. So one of two things is going on here. The shorts are holding it down, or the company or some insiders or some convertible note holders or somebody is selling shares into the float, into any attempt to push the price up. Because what happened? What's the latest with this company? HUBC. I don't know what it is, but we got some very interesting filings. Super interesting. Besides the float being so low, look at all these 13 Gs. These are individual investors saying that they own 30% of the float. This guy here, Andre, says he owns 100,000 shares, which is 8% of that float. This guy, this is fascinating stuff. Daniel says he owns 120,000 shares, 9% of the float. What else we got? Porcello, Luis Michael, says he owns 9%. We already looked at Daniel, right? So, I mean, are those true? John here says he owns 9% of the float. There's people on X saying, look at all these retail investors. We already own. It's documented. We own. Look at this guy. He says he owns 35% of the float. Here's the thing, guys, that I want you. I have no doubt that they own these shares, right? All of these people own these shares. How? How do retail traders own more than 100%? Well, all of them, when they're calculating percentage, I hope you know this. If not, here's a teaching moment. They use the last reported shares outstanding from the company. And the last reported shares outstanding from the company was 1.28 million. But what if that number has changed? Perhaps these people, without a doubt, they bought these shares. Perhaps they don't own 35%. He might own 3%. If someone was dumping shares, someone on the inside, the company, convertible note holders, I don't even know. I don't think they have any open ATM offerings. Let's check. The float did triple between that reverse split in March and now. Shares outstanding tripled just in the last couple months. But now we're working after that 1 for 50 reverse split. We're working on 1 point something million shares, allegedly. Company has negative 9 months of cash left. I would think that they'd probably want to raise some money. We got warrants. I haven't looked at any of these. The exercise prices look really high, but sometimes the exercise price is adjusted or adjustable. I'm going to assume that these are correct. So theoretically, none of these are able to be in the money, but that would be some research if I cared that I would go do. I don't care enough to go do it. Convertible notes. All of them look like they're out of the money. So when I looked at this the other day, I was like, I don't, if all of this is accurate, I don't see a lot of dilution potential, but I would need to spend a full day digging through all of those warrant agreements and convertible note agreements to even be able to talk intelligently about what is a risk here and what is not. And hopefully, if you're trading this stock and you're buying it because you think you have the float locked, well, I would say the proper due diligence would not be reading someone's tweets saying 10 people own 200% of the float, therefore this thing is going to the moon. I would want to go read the warrant agreements, read all recent filings, read the convertible notes, and see, do I have any dilution risk? And also, can the company even raise money? Or why do they have a NASDAQ deficiency notice because they are late on filing their annual report? These are not things to ignore. Generally not a good sign. If it is being shorted, which it very well could be, there are probably some people shorting it, betting on delisting or bankruptcy. These can be really interesting plays, though. I've seen 1 million. I've seen 1 million share floats 10, 20, 50x on price. And we're looking at 75 million, 75,000, 74.8 thousand. If that's true, hey, put $20 on it. Maybe you'll get $100. Maybe you'll get $500 if there is a short squeeze. But the problem is, unlike everybody who is so sure on social media that 10 retail investors have the float locked and a short squeeze is imminent, I don't know. I don't know, because I would need to do a lot more reading to see what is the dilution ability of the company, if any, or any insiders, or any warrant holders, or any convertible note holders. Yeah, Andrew, I know there's a lot of Zionism and anti-Israeli chatter in social media about this ticker too. I just find it fascinating because it's not very common that we have free floats this small and we have this many retail investors filing 13Gs. So for me, why am I paying attention to this one? Not because I'm trading it, not because I care what you do. If you're long, you know, I give you my blessing. It's going to be a great story to talk about. If it moons, it's going to be a great story to talk about if we find out the company gets delisted or there was some dilution. There's going to be some lessons here or some celebrations. Either way, I love paying attention to what I call these little corner cases in the market. And I try to use all of them to create a foundation for finding these plays before they happen. And I'm waiting for GDC to wrap up. I'm going to pull the trigger on the new, what I call the new Chinese pump and dump pre-screen. We're going to find these tickers 3 to 6 months before they pump. Buy them when they're cheap. Because I have identified commonalities and affiliations in all of these companies. I want one more data point. Just give me GDC. Show me I'm right. If I'm wrong, then I'll need to go back to the drawing board. The system is not foolproof. But if I'm right about what's going to happen to GDC, which is an imminent reverse split, then we're going to deploy the pump and dump pre-screen to preload pump and dumps before anybody's talking about them. I'm not going to talk about them with you. I'm not going to pump them. It'll be in one specific channel in the Discord. And I will go over the criteria. Here's why I think that the promoters eventually will be brought on board a few months from now, and the price will run up. And maybe we get lucky in a few of them. We will not be holding them for any of their stupid price targets, and we will not be buying them because of naked shorts. We'll be buying them because we know the pattern and we know that these companies are going to pay someone to promote it. Get in early, get out early. We'll only talk about it when we celebrate. I do not want to be accused of pump and dump. And anyways, I don't have enough of a following to move the price on these stocks. With the pumps are going to be big pumps. When the promoters get serious, they bring in their whole network. You guys know them by now if you know who I'm talking about. And it's anybody that insults me, doxes me, hates me for talking about financial statements. That is the network. And they all work together. The last thing they want to happen is someone come in and talk about the financial statements or filings. Andrew says, let's get lucky together. I'm not just an investor, but an optimistic investor. I like the attitude, Andrew. And I'm going to close by saying this. I don't hate companies. I don't hate CEOs. I don't hate you, any of you. I hate bad entries and I hate losing money. So my whole game is, how do we look at data, look at filings, and look at social media sentiment and the chart to identify good entries, sensible entries, where we can maximize the reward on risky trades. This is for my Degens, right? This is not for all of you. There are going to be plenty of people that hate this live stream because I'm even talking about this trash. But there's a lot of money to be made in some of these tickers. I don't recommend it for you if you're emotional, if you believe pumpers, if you believe naked shorts, if you believe ridiculous price targets. Don't watch my channel. Don't even trade these tickers. You're going to get wrecked over and over. You need to have the ability to be emotionless and cold-blooded on punching both the buy and the sell button. We'll be out of the trade long before the promoters are out of the trade. I don't want to be holding something on the day that they flip it from pump to rug. I want to be out long before that. That's our Degen trades. These should be a small percentage of your overall portfolio. Can we close with that? I want to see you have a good, healthy, stable portfolio of good tickers, profitable companies, companies with growing revenues over the last 5 or 10 years, companies with growing cash flows, massive cash flows. Yeah, we play on the margins. We look for speculative, next up and coming companies also. But I'm just saying that tickers we talked about tonight should not, if all you have is $100,000, man, you're going to put $100,000 on one of these, maybe you go buy $100,000 of lottery tickets. You got the same chance. Go to the casino and put it all on red or black, whatever is your favorite color. At least then you have 50-50. If I'm playing these risky trades, I'm sizing my position to something that you're never going to hear me complain if I lose it, whether that's 500 or 5,000. I will size the trade to the risk that I am willing to lose all of that money. And I don't like losing money. So first of all, I've got to be pretty sure I've got a good edge, good understanding, maybe better understanding than the ding-dongs out there on social media. Then size the trade to the risk and then have a defined exit. A defined exit if it goes wrong and a defined exit if it goes right. Anya says NRGV is not a Degen trade. Yeah, we didn't talk about NRGV tonight, Anya, but if you're in the Discord, you know I have been working since Saturday on a deep dive on NRGV. I am interested in what I see here. It's an energy company I would say is pivoted in an interesting way over the last couple of years. It does have high social media interest. Maybe put it on your radar. So when I do my first deep dive video here in the next week with you guys and share with you all of my findings, maybe we'll have something in common to talk about. Anya already heard the little bit that I talked about in Discord. I'm not even done with the DD. She already bought the ticker and is in the green. So good on you, Anya. I have not bought any yet. I've done several years of catching up on the company and the final bits that I need to. I've listened to earnings calls, gone through 10Qs, 10Ks, interviews, understanding all of their products, understanding their roadmap. And up next, the final bit is putting together. We like the story, right? But we need to understand the risk side of the equation also. So for myself, I'm going to do a risk profile. Like, all right, if I like the company, what do I need to be worried about? What are my potential gotchas? And what are the potential probabilities that any of those might happen? That's the last little bit of wrap up that I need to do. And I don't half-ass these things. If I really like a company, I'm going to spend some time looking into it. So I don't think you're going to, the reason I got interested in this company, my haters on social media, Tony's always talking bad about Finger, GNS, AMC. These dipshits don't even realize I'm long most of the stocks they're complaining about. But he's also talking bad about NRGV. I've never talked about NRGV ever because I have never looked into it until Saturday. So once again, liars on social media, people paid to not get you to listen to someone covering financial statements. But because he was so insistent that I've been talking bad about it, that was kind of like a heads up to me. Maybe I should go investigate it. So thank you to the haters for giving us another ticker to look into that you seem really interested in promoting. But so far I like what I see, you know. We'll see how the rest of the DD shapes up over the rest of the week. And Anya, congrats on being on the green on that trade already. All right. It is 10:50. Thanks for hanging out so late in the Degen After Dark dungeon. It's fun to talk about these every now and then. We do have rooms. I've got a penny stock room in the Discord. I've got rooms for certain tickers if they have higher level of interest. But most of these, what I call DGEM plays, just get all lumped into the penny stock room because we're not spending a lot of time chatting about them, and we might wait a long time to get an entry. But I'm going to wrap up saying congrats again to anybody who took the GNS trade around the time that we did, which was May 13th. It is up more than 100% in after hours, closed after hours at 100% gain in 2 weeks. And we will see what happens tomorrow. No, I don't have any crazy price targets for it. We look, more than 100% on a company like this in 2 weeks is pretty good. If you get a bonus on that, man, go to church and light a candle because God shined on you. Thank you, guys. We love you. I want to see you do good. If you have questions or comments, feel free to leave them. I do my best to answer each and every one of you. Just act like an adult. I don't care if you're a bull. I don't care if you're a bear. But if you are a man-child, you'll be forever blocked. I don't got time for this nonsense. I already have a child. And I got a lot of children haters watching me on other YouTube channels and social media. I don't need you being a child in the comments. You want to talk about trades? You want to talk about DD? You want to talk about filings? You want to test my bull thesis on something or bear thesis? All fair enough. Let's just talk like grown-ups. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We love you. Have a good night.
Up and to the right. Up and to the right. Up and to the right.
Hello, millionaires. Short screenplays where fortunes flip. GameStop's journey, an epic trip. From humble roots to the moon we fly. A company's dream will amplify. Ready warriors, keyboards in hand. With their eyes on the prize, they took a stand. No one's selling, we're here to fight. How does it go? Up and to the right. Up and to the right, we're in for the ride. It stops on the rise, it can't be denied. Up and to the right, through the day and night. Together we'll soar, my ass is in sight. Up and to the right, we're in for the ride. It stops on the rise, it can't be denied. Up and to the right, through the day and night. Together we'll soar, more asses in sight. Hedge funds trembling, Kenny's in shock. GameStop stock, you'll never stop. From diamond hands to rocket ships, we're not selling, we buy every dip. Up and to the right, we're in for the ride. Up and to the right, it can't be denied. Up and to the right, through the day and night. Up and to the right, more asses in sight. Billions in cash on the balance sheet. We will win even if they cheat. Dilute us more, we don't care. Book value grows with every share. The doubters say it can't be done, but the retail army we've already won. With every share we'll never stop. Investors say we love the stock. Up and to the right, we're in for the ride. It stops on the rise, it can't be denied. Up and to the right, through the day and night. Together
surprise.
We're gonna win.